Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Good morning, I'm Jeff Kellam, and I'll be your host today on Encounter. Here's something odd. When I was growing up, my dad would say, "You know, we have Apache blood." And we never knew whether to believe him or not. My grandfather did have a Native American look to him, whatever that is. But it turned out that when my wife was doing some family history, my seventh great-grandfather was Chief Massasoit, who helped welcome the Pilgrims on my mother's side, not my dad's side. But when I found out these things, I began to think more about Native American spirituality. And I began to wonder at the connection between creator and creation, and about the idea that the earth is our home. And with the controversy out at Standing Rock in North Dakota, I've been paying more attention to some of those issues that were overlooked by the media for a long time, until things began to get dicey, and then it started showing up on our evening newscasts. Well, today my guest has been to Standing Rock, and we're going to be talking to Terry McDonald, who is the executive director at the Roberson.
Indeed.
When I grew up, it was Roberson, and you explained to me that that was the Mr. Roberson's wife's preference.
As I understand, there's no documentation anywhere about this, but as it's handed down at the museum anyway, Mr. Roberson, Alonzo Roberson, made his money in the lumber business, but he died 20 years before his wife, who preferred a more French pronunciation of Roberson.
Yes.
So is it Roberson or Roberson? It's your pick. It's totally your pick.
It's certainly more Roberson now, I think, as we hear the word said in the media so often, and as we go to visit. I particularly enjoy the train set, the layout, which is wonderfully done. Not just the trains, but the bit of local history that we see there.
It's so important. Everybody loves the trains, and we were so fortunate a few years back I got 3 calls from different individuals saying, "We've got trains in our basement, we need to get rid of them. Would you be interested?" Well, we had a train layout on the 3rd floor that was wildly popular. So it didn't take rocket science to figure out that absolutely we can take those other trains.
Yes.
And we incorporated them, and then now it's been about 5 years that we have developed this train layout that was 3 times larger than the one that was upstairs. It's very popular, and we were so lucky to have volunteers work on it every week to make sure it's up and running and always developing into something new.
Right. Well, I certainly enjoyed it and want to go back and see it especially during the holiday season.
Yeah.
Tell me about what's going on, before we get to our topic for the day, tell me a little bit about what's going on at Christmas time at the Roberson.
Home for the Holidays has been in existence at Roberson since Roberson existed. So it is 62 years running now, where we have community residents who come in and graciously decorate their displays. It's not just Christmas, it's other holidays as well that celebrate light, but beautiful, beautiful decorations and different ethnicities. Everyone gets involved in sharing what is their historic background with the holiday season. So we've got our International Forest, that's what's been in existence for the entire time of Roberson. But in the last several years too, the mansion, which is beautiful at any time of year,
Yes.
is decorated to the hilt. Professional decorators come in and volunteer their time and create the most extraordinary experience in the mansion. It's just stunning.
I remember
Business sponsors, all kinds of people decorate.
Yes. As a kid, I remember taking the bus from Endicott to Binghamton to Front Street, and David Cook and I would go in and walk through the mansion and just wonder at the high ceilings and the beautiful architecture. And now it's so much more than it was then with the additions and so on.
Yeah.
So Home for the Holidays.
Home for the Holidays is so important in this community.
Yeah. I wanted to talk to you though about your Standing Rock visit. because a couple of friends of mine have gone out to the pipeline area. What took you there?
I'm just lucky. I live sometimes through my children, don't we all?
Yeah.
I think one of the wonderful things about having children is that as they grow, they have experiences and they open doors to you that otherwise you wouldn't have yourself. And my daughter has been living out at Standing Rock for the last few months, since September. She kind of came upon it herself. She had graduated from college, was visiting family and friends, were all from Minnesota, and also had family in North Dakota, went there, and that's where she really kind of happened upon this story that was at that time really not even in social media very strongly.
Sure.
But she ended up going out to Standing Rock with a couple of her uncles and stayed there for a bit, and she was absolutely entranced with this experience that was unfolding before her. And having a moment of free time, she invested in this and doing some writing herself out there. But because my daughter was there in a very nice tent, I'll have to say, a canvas tent that has a wood-burning stove, I was able to take a long weekend, so I wasn't there very long. I was there from the 11th, that was a Friday, Veterans Day, through and returned Monday afternoon, the following Monday afternoon. So not a very long time,
sure.
But was able to partake in this experience under the kind of shelter of my daughter's warming tent.
Yeah.
And through her experience a lot of what was going on.
So sure, her visit was because of some family connections to the area,
right?
And that took her there, and then she must have been enthralled by the experience of being within.
It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, of course, since the time that she arrived in September to now, there's been all kinds of developments, and there's lots in the news. But for her and for me as well, I would say, growing up in Minnesota, there was we were nearby Indian reservations. We saw Native Americans on the streets, as you don't so much in this part of the country. But it was still very, very segregated. The life and experiences of Native peoples was very much apart from our own experiences. And here was an opportunity to go to Standing Rock, to be welcomed, and I mean welcomed, to a Native American Indian reservation and be, appreciated for coming and experiencing what their plight is, and how their culture is unfolding and embracing the cultures of many different people at the same time.
So I guess the word invasion of a pipeline would bring people together with a common purpose, and various tribes in the area that perhaps had not been united before, except in the common Native American experience. But it also, you talked about the welcome. Describe a little bit more of that, because that has brought together people from all different stripes. My friend who went is a United Church of Christ pastor, and she was in a car with two Unitarian Universalist pastors, and she said just the experience of being with people from various faith traditions immersed in the Native American faith tradition was quite enriching.
It's extraordinary. It's extraordinary. You'd asked about the welcoming. I think you've got an image of, as you enter Standing Rock, of a long series of flags that are flying. These represent different indigenous peoples from all over the world, certainly North America. And so there's a bringing together of these various cultures, many of them that didn't necessarily get along before this time, but absolutely it is the pipeline that has created this common purpose, and what is seen by these native peoples, the Lakota peoples, as an invasion of their sacred land, that has brought these different peoples, these different indigenous peoples, and different people of different faith together.
I saw a graphic that showed a pipeline through a national cemetery and said you wouldn't want this. I mean, it was obviously photoshopped.
Right.
And so why would you accept this? And then it showed the rolling hills of North Dakota and the pipeline going through. And there's so many issues here, especially for Native Americans. There's the issue of a treaty. There's the issue of clean water. There's the issue of the burial grounds, which are still sacred.
Sure.
So one can understand why they would come together. You went out to visit your daughter because of her involvement.
I went to visit her, and here I saw this as an opportunity. It was a window onto a world that otherwise we are not privileged to. You don't walk onto a Native American Indian reservation, set up camp, and expect to join in rituals that they are part of. But here you are.
Yeah.
You are absolutely welcome, and you hear it. I heard it all the time. I would go into some place. I would be visiting an encampment, and people would say, "Thank you for being here." And it's just an extraordinary window onto a culture that is not just Native American now, but a blending of cultures. There is, there is no money exchanged. There is no money. There's no need to bring money with you. As a matter of fact, there's nothing to do with the money if you do bring it with you. There is no alcohol or no drugs that are permitted at all. It is absolutely a very peaceful, respectful of other cultures, respectful of the land, just a very respectful and spiritual kind of environment. And as I said, you wouldn't be invited to visit, the Onondaga Reservation and expect to participate in anything there. But here you have, again, this welcoming and window on to this culture. You don't film it, but you can participate in it. And I was able to participate in some of the most beautiful rituals and very spiritual.
Describe a couple of them.
One of the ones that I thought was most amazing was a water ritual, and it's particularly for women. Women are associated with water.
Yeah.
This takes place as the Standing Rock is. There are various sort of camps as part of the Standing Rock populace now, but they border on the Cannonball River. The Cannonball serves as sort of a tributary into the Missouri River. There's probably a difference of, I'd say, 8 feet between the river itself and the elevation where the encampment is. And at the bank, they have carved in the soils a step, as kind of stairs down to the river to a platform. And every morning, and I did this one morning, people line up, women particularly line up, and there's singing going on. You follow one by one, and it takes well over an hour for everybody to go one by one down the stairway to the platform of the river. And as you go down, you are guided on either side by people who support you. They hold your hand. It's a very beautiful thing that you are touching these people who help guide you down. Do you need help guiding down? Some people might,
Sure.
but it's not so much that you need the help, but that it's a shared experience and that is offered.
Yeah.
And the eye contact and the thank you and the really loving expressions on the faces of the people who are helping to guide you down. On my left, as I went down at first, was a Buddhist monk, by the way. And you get down to the platform, or you get halfway down, And because I'd never done this before, I had to be prompted, of course. They turned my left hand over and put bits of tobacco in my hand, and then close my hand. I go down further until I get to the platform, and there is a woman who is conducting this brief ceremony, and you are to offer your tobacco to the river, and then you hold out that same left hand, and she pours from a pot water from the river into your hand, which you drink. We recognize this consumption as characteristic of many faiths, right?
Yeah.
And then you take the pot yourself and pour a bit of water, offer it back into the river. And it was just lovely. There is this singing that is going on during the same time about your body is water, your soul is part water, and you give. It's just the giving and receiving of this natural substance.
And you're singing in English, so you know.
You're singing in English, yeah.
Not
because
native.
I don't know Lakota.
Right.
Yeah.
We have I think we have a Lakota hymn in our hymnal that at least is, at least if you read the syllables, it's something close to it. So that's one of the rituals, and then now I was at an interdenominational meeting once with Catholics and Protestants from the U.S. and from Canada. We were all media people, and a Native American came in and did a smoke ceremony with us. We did not smoke a pipe, but there was smoke, and some of us were uncomfortable because we weren't used to incense in our churches. But then we realized it is good for us to take part in the rituals of another faith community.
Yeah.
And so we felt much more relaxed about that.
Yeah.
Yes,
there's I attended a drumming ceremony. Just went on for hours. My goodness, I don't know how they had the stamina to do this. But I wanted to say central to the camp is a sacred fire. And because you're mentioning smoke too, there's a sacred fire that has been burning, or at the time that I was there had been burning, I think since August. And it is watched over by an individual who sits at one end of the fire. It's not a huge fire. It's just like a campfire, like any that we might have.
Sure.